FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. It's Kerry Lutz, and it's time for another Triple Lutz Report. This is episode 385. The date is June 7th, 2015, and I can't believe it. It's been 4 years to the day since I literally gave up my day job and started doing FSN full-time. It's been an amazing experience. I wouldn't give it up for anything in the world. It's turned into something far greater, far better, far richer, just far more satisfying, gratifying. It's just turned into an amazing journey that I couldn't have done without you guys out there, without you listening, without your emails, without your support. And I've just loved every moment of it. Proof is that we've had over 13 million downloads during this time. It's not including YouTube's, not including reposts, not including all of that stuff. So thank you all. By the way, this episode brought to you by several of our sponsors, Jason Hartman, jasonhartman.com. If you're looking for real estate, our new podcast, which is the Identity Theft Warriors. You can find that podcast over on iTunes. Just type in Identity Theft Warriors. Hey, in real estate investing that works. Mike Gazzola. Just so many opportunities have opened up recently to me. And by the way, nobody sponsors the show. No money changes hands unless I say they're a sponsor. That's the way it works here. Total transparency. And unless I'm excited about what's going on, what the person does, I don't sign on with them. That's just the way it works here. Identity theft is all in the news lately. We just get done doing a show about 104,000 people getting their income tax transcripts ripped off, which is literally the golden key to identity theft. It's got everything on there: social security number, date of birth, how much you made, where you live, everything that an identity theft needs to file a fake tax return, to start taking out phony credit card accounts, mortgages in your name. And what happens? The Federal Personnel Office, 4 million federal workers get their identities stolen. Federal workers, being federal workers, they're overpaid. They're making over the average income, and all their info is stolen, how much they're being paid, where they live, all that good stuff. And boom, it's in the news again. So keepmyid.org, use the discount code FSN2. It is the only identity theft prevention service out there. All the other services, just monitoring. They tell you when your identity is stolen, but they don't do anything to stop it from happening. Keepmyid.org stops identity thieves dead in their tracks, whether they're from Russia, China, or from Miami, Florida. It doesn't matter. Once you trigger your credit freezes by using keepmyid.org, that's the end of it. They can't steal your identity. Only service like it of its type out there. I use it. You should be using it too. I can't endorse them strongly enough. They're former military intelligence guys, Fed agents, federal attorneys. They know how the system works, and they put the steps in place to protect you. So let's get on to gold. Like I said, in this current environment, you can't take any rally in gold and silver too seriously. I know that Nenner will be putting out, if he hasn't already, saying that gold is on a sell signal, no doubt. But it's still looking good for the longer term. We'll see what happens in August. He thinks it's going up a few $100. We'll see if he's sticking to that call. I'm not certain at all, but you know that longer term, it's going to happen, no doubt about it. coming up shortly in Vegas. We're going to have Freedom Fest. I think it's from July 8th to the 11th. I will be there for at least a part of it, the beginning part. I want to see the Krugman-Stephen Moore debate. Nobel Prize laureate Paul Krugman, who writes for the New York Times, just, totally flake off the wall economics writer and doesn't know how an economy works, thinks you can print your way and borrow your way to prosperity. You and I know differently, don't we? Yep, we sure do. So, a couple of real badass guys escaped from the New York State maximum prison in Dannemora, New York. I mean, it's just like something out of the Shawshank Redemption, except these guys are badasses, convicted criminals. One of them killed a deputy sheriff, and they're just bad people, need to be caught and locked up right away. But they literally broke through their prison cells, cut through with power tools. How they got them in prison, I don't know, but I guess anything's available for the right price in prison, as you know. You've seen it many times. One guy's name is Richard Matt, 48. The other guy's name is David Sweet. Nothing sweet about him, is 34. Really bad characters, and hopefully they will be gotten shortly and basically locked up and put away. Fortunately, they weren't given the death penalty, which would be too good for them. You know, you've probably been hearing for quite a while about bee-apocalypse. They're all going to die, and you're not going to be able to get any food because bees pollinate, cross-pollinate plants, and that's how you get food. You know, the birds and the bees and all that stuff. And there's an article in the National Review online. Now, granted, you always got to take your sources from where they come from, but according to them, the bee-apocalypse not really happening. And this was on the cover of Time magazine, which foretold a world without bees. Beekeepers reported losing 42.1% of their colonies over the last year. That was in 2014, and based on such reports, we thought that honeybees were nearly going to be gone because honeybees are such an important pollinator. They reportedly add $15 billion to the value of crops each year. And the Obama administration announced the creation of a pollinator health task force to help develop a federal strategy to promote honeybees and other pollinators. And last month, this task force unveiled its long-awaited plan, the national strategy to promote the health of honeybees and other pollinators. The plan aims to reduce honeybee colony losses to sustainable levels and create 7 million acres of pollinator-friendly habitat. Also calls for more than $82 million in federal spending to address pollinator health. Well, you know what that's about. But something you probably haven't heard, according to National Review, is there are more honeybee colonies in the United States today than there were when colony collapse disorder began in 2006. In fact, according to data released in March by the Department of Agriculture, U.S. honeybee colony numbers are now at a 20-year high. And these colonies are producing plenty of honey. U.S. honey production is at a 10-year high. So explain this to me. If the honeybee production colonies are collapsing, how can honey production be at a 10-year high? Nobody's reporting this because the media preys on fear. So it's all in there in the Department of Agriculture's production numbers, subsidies, all this crap. This is what they do. It just gets to me because it's always happening. They're always creating fear, and they're always trying to make you worried, to get the government to intervene. And you ask 9 out of 10 people on the street, are bees dying? They're going to tell you yes. But like I say, I buy honey regularly not usually in the supermarkets, usually at Holier Than Thou Foods. And I haven't seen the price of the stuff go up. I buy locally produced honey from Florida. I love orange blossom honey. It's got a picture of the beekeeper, this guy from Florida, wherever he is. and he looks pretty healthy. The quality of the honey is still excellent. I love the taste of it. I tried Tupelo honey because of Van Morrison's song, how sweet Tupelo honey was. And I got to tell you, the orange blossom honey is much sweeter than Tupelo honey. So Van Morrison, you don't know anything about honey because orange blossom honey is better. I tried golden blossom honey too. It was sweeter than Tupelo honey. I don't like Tupelo honey. I like orange blossom honey. Stick to orange blossom honey. Just as an aside, I'm not an authority on honey by any stretch. I just like the honey that I buy. And I mix it in with Greek yogurt in the morning, which is also bad for you because dairy is bad for you because that's what you've been programmed to understand. I don't get low-fat anything. I hate low-fat stuff. Ice cream sucks since they started with low-fat. Yogurt, when you go for frozen yogurt, I can't eat that frozen yogurt low-fat stuff. Since they made it low-fat, it tastes horrible. It tastes like pure chemicals. I want high-fat everything, as much fat as I can get because it makes it taste good. It hasn't affected my cholesterol one darn bit. Just take another Lipitor. Don't worry about it. So enough of that. Some of it's in jest, but make your own decisions about Tupelo honey. Don't listen to Van Morrison. It's just a song. So Elon Musk, cool guy. I don't agree with him about government subsidies. If his cars are so great, all of his stuff is so great, he can do it on his own. He doesn't need Uncle Sam writing him generous checks. Just my opinion. But he's got this thing called the Hyperloop. He hasn't been working on it, but he conceived of it. And it's kind of like, you have these pneumatic tubes when you go to the bank, to the drive-up window, but you're not next to the window. You're 3 things down, and you write your check, you put it in the tube, you put the thing in, and it goes. That's a pneumatic tube. And the first subway in Manhattan that wasn't successful at the Hudson Terminal, which is where the World Trade Center used to be, when they were excavating for something or other, they found the first subway tube there, and it was actually a pneumatic system. And that's kind of the concept that he has, but using computers and electronics, he believes that he can create a radical plan to let people travel 760 miles per hour in tubes, and it's going to be tested next year in California. I think this is so cool. And the guy is a visionary. I see these Teslas all over the place here in Florida. I think they're stupid. They look pretty cool, but I just don't think they're worth the money. But if that's what it takes for you to feel good, fine. Just don't look down on me because I would like an internal combustion engine. But this Hyperloop, built from scratch on 7,500 acres of land around Interstate 5 between San Francisco and LA, it's going to be cheaper than the maglev trains they're talking about. And basically, you get in these little things and they'll suck you in, and, it'll go up to like the speed of sound. And things could really work. So air is pumped in, and small holes make a air cushion, and each pod has air inlets at the front. An electrode turbo compressor compresses air from the nose, routes it into the skis. They actually go on skis, and these magnets are on the skis. So the magnets pulse, and it's just like a maglev train, but it's using air as well. So you're not getting resistance from the atmosphere, from the environment. I mean, it's totally a cool thing, but everybody says it can't work, which leads me to believe that it definitely can work. You've seen these things for many, many times, but what's cool is it's crowdsource funded. A lot of people, all the people working on it are volunteering to work on it. I think this thing is going to work. I think it's going to be killer. The government's not working on it, and the government's blown it off. He's put the price tag at $6.2 billion, which is around a tenth of the high-speed rail system that the government of California has already said is going to be a failure, won't work. It is especially going to work well for paired cities like LA and San Francisco, like LA to Las Vegas, San Francisco to Las Vegas. You could see it working from like New York to DC, New York to Boston. Florida, it would be great because you got a lot of open space next to these highways. So you go from Miami up to Orlando to Tampa, Florida is the perfect place for it. Going across the state, I mean, it's just an amazing thing, man. There's no possibility for danger on this thing. Batteries get fed by solar power, maybe, maybe not. I don't know about that, but this thing is cool, last forever, basically, because there's really no moving parts. I mean, I just see this thing as a cool thing. They're going to prove it out for 100 million. It works. It's going to change the world. Elon Musk is just an amazing guy. If you don't know about him, he created PayPal. PayPal's an amazing service. There's nothing else like it. Nothing's been able to catch it. PayPal's just an incredible thing. Use it all the time. If you want to send me some money, KHL@lutzasset.com. I'm open to anything there. If you like what we're doing here. By the way, the shows. So we got 3 shows right now. Obviously, this show, which is Financial Survival Network, you know how to get it. You're getting it. You're on the website. All the shows appear on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. But please subscribe to them. That really helps us with iTunes ratings. So just find me, Kerry Lutz, on iTunes, on the iTunes Store, Identity Theft Warriors on the iTunes Store, and Real Estate Investing That Works on the iTunes Store. They're entertaining as hell. The shows are great. We've got great guests on all of them. Mike Gazzola's system works. I've used it, bought a condo for almost half of what it would cost at retail. Fixing it up now. I'm going to be selling it shortly. Identity theft, leading criminal activity. It's just amazing how bad it is. Now, the final thing I want to talk to you about, and it's just, this article blew me away because this guy wrote an article, America the Ponzi Scheme, a commencement speech for the scammed. And, well, it was a commencement speech talking about what's going on with the economy, the debt, and, you know, you've been in college, you don't think you were part of the real economy, but you really were because you attended school, you racked up debt, and, you know, maybe this is the moment then to begin your actual education by looking back and asking yourself what you should really have learned on campus and what you should expect in the scams, years to come. Many of you, those whose parents didn't have money, undoubtedly entered these stately grounds 4 years ago in relatively straitened circumstances. In an America in which corporate profits have risen impressively, it's been springtime for billionaires. But when it comes to ordinary Americans, wages have been relatively stagnant, jobs, the good ones anyway, generally in flight, and times not exactly of the best. And, you know, he goes on, for those who took a foreign language in your college years, in translation, you've paid stunning sums you didn't have to leave yourself. In translation, you've paid stunning sums you didn't have to leave yourself, like any foreclosed property underwater. Not good English, but hey, worse yet, for those of you who dream of being future doctors, lawyers, financial wizards, architects, or English professors, if there are any of those anymore, that's only the beginning. You'll still have to pay exorbitantly for years of graduate school or professional training, which means ever more debt to come. Does this really sound like an education to you, or does it sound like more like a Ponzi scheme, like you've been scammed? Do I understand how all this works? No, I'm no expert on the subject. What anyone should be able to see, however, is that the promise of higher education has, in this century, sunk low indeed, and that what your generation has been learning how to endure while still in school is a form of peonage. I'd binge drink too under the circumstances. Funny article in Zero Hedge. I want you to take a look at it if you have a chance to. You'll get a good kick out of it. And, you know, look, I've been telling you about higher ed for quite a while. Be careful taking on all that debt. What's the point of it, really? Is there a point to it? I don't know. You got to have a real strategy. I will say, and I've told you this before, that my kids graduated from college debt-free, and it was just a quirk of economic circumstances that I just happened to have the money to be able to pay for those colleges. Because of my personal circumstances at the time, it really was just luck. I wanted my kids to go to college. It was like kind of at the beginning of the financial crisis when they graduated, or My daughters started college before the crisis hit and graduated right around the end of it. So I wasn't as enlightened as I am now, I have to admit. And along those lines, there's a guy here, originally published an opinion piece in the New York Times Sunday Review. He has a Bachelor of Arts from Columbia, master's degree, Masters of Philosophy, and basically talked about, his name's Lee Siegel, 1,100-word rant against college loans. There are some bad ones, he said, but two things are clear. He didn't take responsibility, personal responsibility, and or responsibility were used 0 times. He's the author of 5 books and is writing a memoir about money. But he talks about he pretty much had no choice. If he wanted to go to college, he had to get loans. And he's paying his loans, but then he pretty much decides that he could not survive except by defaulting on his loans. And he pretty much said that, hey, in the eyes of the law, I'm a deadbeat, but too bad. I can't afford to pay it. I'm not going to, and too bad. So let them come after me. It's not right that they're not dischargeable, which I happen to agree with him, but I think that he should be paying something towards those loans. Where all college students are victims is that the price of college doesn't function in a market because of third-party pay. Just like the cost of healthcare is a broken market, so is the cost of college loans. College tuition rather, is way out of whack because government funding of college education has become the prevalent form of financing it. And therefore, this is what's happened. It's escalated way, way, way beyond the rate of inflation. I explained that to you, how much it had gone on, just looking at how much it would cost me to get the identical education, both from college and law school, as I got from the same schools. And it's so far beyond the any measure of inflation that it's just absurd. So, he's got some points here, but he takes no responsibility for the decisions that he made. And that's where he's wrong. So, point is, there's no reason why student loans should not be dischargeable in bankruptcy, and till that's recognized and reorganized. And then the government should not be making the loans. Private industry, private finance should be making them, and the schools should be making the loans, which they do, but that's something they don't advertise. They will make loans to certain students who've got other financing in place but have a gap, and the only place where they can get that financing is from the school. Then they will make those loans. They're loans of last resort. They're called gap loans. There are billions of them on the school's books, but they don't advertise them. Anyway, hey, thanks again for the best 4 years of my life, best job I've ever had. It's not even a job. I don't consider it a job. It's never been a job from the day I started doing it. Thank you for listening. Write to me, KHL@kerrylutz.com. Follow us on Twitter if that's your thing. I'll start tweeting again. Follow us on Facebook. I'll try to start doing that again. That'll be kind of my New Year's resolutions. Please subscribe to us on iTunes. You'll automatically get every segment that we do. You won't have to go looking for us. And keep an eye out for those webinars, the Rick Rule, John Embry webinars. Thousands of people have seen us on YouTube. They've literally gone viral. They were total fun. Robert and I really enjoyed them, so we're going to be doing more of them. So keep an eye out for them. And anything you want to tell me, criticism, compliments, whatever, criticism's really more important. I want to hear from you. Thank you for the best 4 years of my life. This has been another Triple Lutz Report. Kerry Lutz signing off.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.